Oh my, that's a lot of health. Jesus, that's a lot of health. It'd be super cool. Oh, there we go. That's it. That was the whole ask. That was the whole ask was, man, wouldn't it be cool if I could get a, wouldn't it be cool if I could get a, soul heart to insulate? There we go. I don't dare. Not yet. Listen, let me believe that this starts off to a good clip. Let me believe that there's not something disappointing just lurking around the corner.
The moon.
Let me believe that the first run of the day is just gonna be ridiculously powerful. Ooh, that's a risky click. Let's go see what's happening in our shop. You know what? We can walk around. I'll take the nickel. That's spending power, baby. Money equals power. Oh, okay. Yeah, this start's bananas. This start is bananas. I'm so curious about you. Oh, that's our trinket is that. Our trinket is what's giving us all these soliolis. Yo, Ryan with 20 bits says, here I spend the big bucks to get you to take the horse pill. Well, you are, what, tops on the bit board? You are #1 on the leaderboard. Custom dictates that I listen to what you have to say. We do have a general mentality here of money talks and bullshit walks, and you are top of the list. Oh, well. I can already feel it cooling off this run. Don't spend that all in one place. Hey, thanks for the itty bitties. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Ooh. I've been kind of waiting for this like several month-long hot streak to sort of cool down. Really? We're good. I'm sorry, I didn't see the... I looked at chat and didn't see the sock puppet coming at me. That was very scary. I looked up and I was being accosted. Trying to decide whether or not I want to roll... I feel like I've got my soul hearts now. I'll probably roll with, oh, shit. I'll probably roll with the, Rotten Penny. How much did it cost to get accosted? It usually costs extra, that's for sure. It's one of those things you definitely need to get the, safe words ironed out quickly. Let's go ahead and do the old switcheroo here. I think grabbing this early enough is a wizened move. I probably should have used like I should have held on to the moon card just for this. Oh, okay. Hook, fine. I had a feeling it was going to be too good to be true. Are there any keys for sale in the shop? Because we've just made things dicey for ourselves. Let's do that. Let's do that. Sorry, Dono-chan. Not. Oh my God in heaven. I'm just setting myself up for success on the rest of the run. You know what? We're gonna lean into this build a little bit. We're gonna lean into this build a little bit. I regret it already. Please, 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 wooden nickel. I'm begging you. Pay out. What would a very large gulp pill do? I can't summon it off the top of my head. You know what I mean? Like, I can't think to myself, what, you know... What would a really large gulp pill do? Because, like, a really large pretty flag gives you the big fan, the fat protector? Nah. I'd rather have my health on the next floor. It's more valuable to me in an arcade than it is picking this up for 2 red hearts on top of that. That's a pretty thick ask. How's your Christmas time? I mean, I streamed on Christmas. It was very busy. My Christmas time was very busy. The boys seemed to enjoy their Christmas, which brought me great pleasure. Because Amber and I were not... Honestly, Amber and I were not sure whether or not Santa Claus had come through as much in the clutch as the boys were gonna hope he did. But the boys seemed happy.
One makes you larger.
Today, like yesterday, was really kind of my first real day off in the holiday season. Neat. Yeah, yesterday was really my first like day to just be at home. I didn't have to go to a theme park. I didn't have to entertain anybody. I didn't have any like, oh, well, I'm gonna not stream in the morning, but I got a live stream set up where I gotta cook or, you know, do a Yule log or whatever. Yesterday was my first like true day off in like a month, where I had nothing on my plate except for like doing stuff around the house. Except for like doing stuff around the house and getting things done in the office that would make me feel comfortable. Otherwise, it was good. I mean, like none of it was bad. It's just, you know, generally speaking, I've never been good at being one of the kinds of streamers who takes traditional holidays, you know? Usually, Jesus, that's a lot of dimes. Generally speaking, my holidays are, I take time off where it falls in the cracks between obligations. I might have like a regular January if I ditch MagFest. Not to sound excited about it, but... I guess. You know what? Let's find out what's going on here, huh? Oh my god. He didn't yell it, but I'll forgive him. He didn't scream tears up at the top of his lungs, but I'll forgive him. What's MagFest anyway? The music and gaming festival, generally speaking... Puberty hit while I was in the middle of that comment, which is weird. Generally speaking, MagFest is one of the only things all year that I prefer not to miss, normally. I like MagFest very much. It's in this hotel called the Gaylord Hotel. Sure. It's in this hotel called the Gaylord Hotel, which is a hotel that is normally surrounded by very cold wind coming off the harbor, but it's encapsulated in a gigantic glass dome. So what looks like the outdoor courtyard area is actually climate controlled. And so in years past, it was an awful lot of fun that at 3 in the morning, if you have a hotel room at the Gaylord, you can just walk around in your PJs and go to like one of the massive hotel conference rooms. You can just go to one of the massive hotel conference rooms where they've got like arcade games and like 1,000 arcade games and pinball machines set up, and just play video games at 3 o'clock in the morning on Artist Alley, big conference rooms with like Artist Alley. They've got big conference rooms with like pinball and arcade, old school arcade cabinets, and every last gen console you can think of, with a whole shitload of games on it. It's a really cool, and it's a very horny con. There's a ton of cosplayers, so it's just it's a big fuck off thirst trap, but in a fun way. I don't know. I've always enjoyed it, but partially like yeah. Let's see what our item is, huh? I've thoroughly enjoyed that con in years past.
The devil.
But honestly speaking, some of the things that I've enjoyed about it in the past are what's like spooky about it to me now is that like it's a very tight quarters con. It's the kind of con where I genuinely almost always assumed I was coming home sick with like a head cold or you know, pneumonia or some shit like that. But that, I mean, that, you know, that's when it's normally packed to the gills with people, and I can't imagine that this year it's gonna be packed to the gills with people. But I don't know. When I said yes to doing all this stuff, Omicron didn't exist. Ooh, I needed the keys more than anything. That's crazy. Yo, let's go! Unbelievable. Goodness gracious. Run over on Caves 1. Unreal. I probably should hold back some keys, though. That's the one thing that could get me truly frustrated, is if we just found ourselves not able to open shops and item rooms from here on out because of Guppy's tail. Torin. Oh shit. I wasn't paying attention. I'm just gonna walk back and go get those red hearts. I'm so silly. Just checking in. I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. Torin drops 10 gifted. Monkey Lawn Gnome, Hipster Prince, Jamama, Tug, Short Shack Tito, Dave Areno, Onirios, T-Man, Zabelful, Fellini Fiend, and Die Labtech Man. All recipients of 10 very, very generously gifted subs from Torin. Happy New Year to you as well. Thank you, dude. I was just sitting here pondering out into the universe whether or not January this year, for the first time in 3 years, if this would be a quiet January, or if it would be an aggressive January, like a spike January. Y'all know how you do. I'll go ahead and grab the key. Maybe we'll fight Mango Santa. 44 bits from Torin. I'm number 1. Rocketwell with 45, just to set the record straight. Thank you both for the itty bitties, and Torin, thank you for the big old gifted sub drop. I appreciate it. That's very kind of you. Wow, look at this. We got a game of quarters going on in the corner. Got an aggressive game of quarters. This is the most intense Minor League Monday action I think the channel has ever seen. Unbelievable. Squint Fox, you'll be happy to know that I have the little foam rubber corner on the edge of the equipment now, so if I do clip it again, I shouldn't take a gigantic golf divot out of my foot. Together, we've overcome my abilities of procrastination. To safeguard my equipment against toddlers and myself. I'm feeling pretty good about it, honestly. I keep touching it, it's weird. It's like the first time I shaved my mustache. It feels weird to reach down there and not see a jagged metal edge. Look at this. Look at these haymakers being thrown here. The foam quarter finally gets placed in 2022. Truly a blessed year.
Hey man, those are bits.
Darth Shield with Fitty Bitties actually triggers the notification. Shit's getting real all of a sudden. Shit's getting real all of a sudden. This is when you know people have stopped fucking around, is when I actually hear what you're doing.
Hey man, those are bits.
I don't even know that I want to take this pill. I've gotten a Tears upgrade pill. Nothing else is so good that I think I'm willing to risk it. Unbelievable. We're on the verge of having I was gonna say we're on the verge of having a weekly bit board leader who's in the triple digits in bits. I should probably turn the ringer on my phone on in case news outlets get wind of this. Kotaku's gonna want to hear from us. Are you the streamer who got triple digit bits from one donor in one day? I am. What are you gonna do with that money? Well, I gotta have a real serious conversation with my wife about whether or not I want to keep streaming. As we have hit mission accomplished.
This is the story of the newest denizen of the cave.
Juzel tier 1, 56 months. It's that time of the month again. Welcome back. Thank you so much. A vert pill would be pretty good, but I just don't think the juice is worth the squeeze on it. Man. First day of back to intermittent fasting, I can truly feel it, because I forget that from like 9 to 11:30 or so, I just feel hollow. It could just be an indicator of how frequently I overeat. What does Birthright do? Oh, I know, it's Eden. I'm sorry, I had to think about what character we were on. Yeah, I'll take that. Oh my. Well, it's gotta be Tech 0. Because we already have homing tiers. That's a key, thank God. Alright, well. Sure. Sure. Keys? Not keys. This run is banana balls. Yeah, this is something else. This run is something else.
Hey man, those are bits.
Who's done this? Torin with 88 bits. My God. Chat, please make sure you handle your own bills and personal finances before you give all this money to me. Okay, that's a live bomb. I want that. There are only so many places the secret room can be. Oh shit, I think it was actually back in this room is the only wall I didn't bomb. Yeah, the next run clearly is going to be hell. Well, I mean, we're on, it will be on to File 2, and the problem with File 2 is that... The problem with File 2 is that it's overwhelmingly stuff I don't want to do. So genuinely speaking, none of it's going to be fun.
Hey man, those are bits.
Unbelievable, look at this. Ryan from Canada looks tapped out at $1. I don't blame him, the banks aren't open this early on a Monday, so you can't get a loan. Torrens at $1.39, Rocket Whale at a very spiteful 140. y'all are gonna activate the world's saddest hype train. It's gonna be the first, like, let's get to level 1. We're at 2% already. Cloud Swallowing Man, good morning. How are people related things? I am genuinely wrestling with whether or not I'm gonna go to MagFest this week.
Hey man, those are bits.
I feel like the smart money is to not.
Hey man, those are bits.
I did say that I was thinking about, I was gonna probably go if Heather and Nate went. But it sounds like Heather and Nate are trying to decide whether or not they should do it.
This is the story of the newest denizen of the cave.
And if Heather and Nate and Ryan bail, I don't know, Ryan might go because he's the one who set up a bunch of the panels, but if I can get the majority of the pretzel people to bail, and then Justin bails as well, I don't know. I was to say, I don't know why I'm trying to fight this guy. I've got the key pieces. If I can get the majority of the pretzel people to bail, then I won't feel so bad bailing. Salty Sparks with 142 bits. Jadestone with 100 bits. Snake Bitten, tier 3, 48 months. Miracle of Sound is making an arcane song, and I can't wait. Also, Happy New Year and all that stuff. Snake Bitten, thank you so much. I can't wait to hear it either. Oh, I can't wait another year for Arcane. I'm gonna have to draw my own version. And it'll be awesome. Well, my Airbnb at MagFest, my friends bailed. The sad thing is that I'm going to be on the hook for the Airbnb that Noah got for us. Not just me, you know what I mean? But I mean, like, we're going to be on the hook for Airbnb.
Hey, Tabby, man, what does it mean when there's, like, bits, but a lot of them?
David with 5 gifted. Oh, they got COVID? Shit. Well, okay, I'm not going to MagFest. I'm not going to MagFest. That's it. That's it. I'm done. I'm not. If I can't stream, this bullshit doesn't happen. If this bullshit doesn't happen, then I don't have schmeckles. I don't have schmeckles to rub together in my pocket. David with 5 gifted, Terra 9.
This is the story of the newest denizen of the cave.
Jesus Almighty and Chavs.
Hey,
David,
Tabby,
thank you.
Man, what does it mean when there's, like, bits, but a lot of them?
Gessler with 100 bits and the Choo Choo. I'm sure I missed some. If you did like a $1 or a $2 memory contribution, thank you. Devins gives a tier 1 sub to AKA Gessler. Subscribed to tier 1 for 5 months. Fremry with 5,000 bits. And a big woot. Thank you, Fremry. Geist with 2,500 bits. Now we're creeping out of minor league Monday territory. Your time to be involved in the meme boards runs thin. The Cowboys are blaming the rest for that loss. They could have blamed 3.5 quarters of...
those are bits.
3.5 quarters of offensive impotence. That last call sucked, but that was far from the worst thing that happened that day. And if we're gonna be stuck for another couple months not doing a whole bunch of anything because of COVID, then the entire reasoning behind getting the patio for the spring makes even more sense. We were doing what everyone else was doing in that we Tabby, you're someone who knows how the weather works here. Am I dumb if I drive in this to my gym? Richmond drivers are so bad in inclement weather that I've seen them close the entire city for cold rain. I remember once when I was in VCU at graduate school, the entire city of Richmond closed down for what ultimately ended up being, they thought it was going to be freezing rain, Lauren. They thought it was going to be freezing rain, so they shut everything down, and it turned out it was just like, it was like a 45 degree rainy day, but like there was no ice, but the drivers here are so bad that they closed down the city for what ended up being cold rain. So, I'm also sitting here trying to talk myself out of MagFest, and I don't know if I'm winning or losing. So I too am guilty of like, it's my life, it's now or never. So I totally get it where it's just kind of like, I could just go out and hack this, it'll be fine. But long story short is that the reason to be scared is that Richmond drivers, I'm not shitting on them. Like Idaho drivers would have no idea how to deal with a fucking hurricane because it just doesn't happen there. So it just doesn't happen here very often. So, but that said, Richmond drivers are fucking terrible in snow. That was the thing that was bothering me this morning, Justin, is that I woke up and normally I wake up with the intention of, oh, you motherfucker. I don't give a shit. You can't hurt me as bad as I'll hurt me. This is a stupid room. The fuck is the point of that room even? Yeah, Richmond drivers are just ass terrible in snow. I woke up this morning to watch the news because I normally watch like the CBS morning news to start my day off. Yeah, see if there's any major talking points, you know, celebrity deaths, that kind of shit. Trying to find out stuff before I find out stuff that I don't have to learn about on stream from somebody who's like, oh, by the way, your favorite musician died or whatever. I'm like, oh, fun. I'll process that live in front of you. And this morning, instead of going to the national broadcast, they actually stayed on the Richmond team for an extra hour because for the entire morning it was going back and forth between freezing rain and sleet and then snow on top of the freezing rain and sleet. So it's gonna get like slushy and icy and Richmond drivers are absolutely gonna have no idea what to do with that. There's a part of me that wants to go look for the secret room. Maybe God will cancel MagFest. Man, I'm so on the fence. I want so badly to like just be rid of the anxiety of it. I joked that I got railroaded into this. I did, but I was okay with it at the time because Omicron didn't exist. Yeah, I feel like I'm angling that direction too, dude, if it makes you feel any better. When we booked all this, it was only... Oh, goddamn. When we booked all this, it was only the Delta variant, and we were vaccinated, and the Delta variant didn't spread that aggressively among vaccinated people. And the pretzel folks were gonna be there, and you were going. There were even rumors that like Brizzy might drive down and hang out with us. And at that point, it's like, damn, dude, it sounded like it was way too good of a time to miss out on. Especially because like the world wasn't gonna get any better for the next couple of years. But now with Omicron, I'm just like, man, I'm probably not gonna go. And I feel bad because like, you know, I'm not the one who set up any of the panels. Yeah, I'm not the one who set up any of the panels, so it's not like my name or reputation on the line. Other than just like, oh, he didn't come, but it's a global pandemic, so they can't get that upset at me. Dude, where in the world are any of the secret rooms on this floor? Are you an I Can See Forever pill? You're not. The Betty White news got released midstream. Yeah, but generally speaking, like, you know, it's happened to me plenty, and I generally deal with it pretty well, but like, it is kind of a swift kick to the metaphorical dick to have somebody show up and be like, hey, did you hear? There was another big school shooting. Tons of toddlers just popped right in their head. Crazy, right? Oh, that's gotta really emotionally just, here's some photos. Let me link you some photos. Here's some dead babies. And it's like, oh, fun, thanks. I was in the middle of a funny tirade that was making me money, but yeah, you're right. Let's stop and look at these dead baby photos. This is probably a good thing for morale. I'm generally better about handling that stuff than most, but it is kind of a very selfish thing to like to want to spring that on a streamer just so you can watch them parse through it in real time. Flip a coin? Nah, I'm a grown-up. I'll make my decisions the grown-up way. There's a... Fuck me, man. Sorry, Gluttony, you just have to shut up. We're gonna play the game with no volume for a little bit. Honestly, Justin, there is a part of me that wishes they'd just alleviate my guilt and just cancel the damn thing. A little bit, you know? There's a practice done here where you get your driver's license in Denmark where you have to pass a heavy rain and snow test field that I feel like should be done everywhere. It doesn't make any sense to do it in parts of the U.S. though, because parts of the U.S. are like the fucking tropics. Like with you know, with climate change, yeah, sure, there'll be a lot of spots where it's like, oh, we're not used to seeing snow, and I'm like, well, maybe you should have stopped burning styrofoam. It makes sense in places where there's a lot of snow to make people prove that they can drive through snow. But like the United States is basically the size of a continent, and we have. Oh, I didn't mean to pick that up. That sucks. The United States is basically the size of a continent, and we have essentially every what's the word I'm looking for? Sort of ecosystem and whatnot you can imagine. Climate zone, yeah. Yeah, Justin, it's just like people get so excited. Like, people get so excited because, like, none of them are April O'Neil. Like, none of them are fucking actual reporters. But man, oh man, if they think that they've got some news that'll emotionally affect you, they want to be the ones to break the story. And it's just kind of like, all right. Like, for me, generally speaking, I'm like, oh, that's sad, and I move on. But like, my big thing is not necessarily the emotional grief that I feel when somebody breaks a big story at me on my stream. Not to me, more at me. Like, the person who told me about Betty White came in here and was like, Ryan, are you sitting down? And I'm like, I fucking stream. Yes, of course I'm sitting down. What a stupid question. And they're like, Betty White died. And I was like, all right. Oh, well, I was hoping for a bigger reaction than that. They didn't say that, but I'm sure that's what it was. You know, but ultimately for me, the big thing is like, if we're having a good time and people are in good spirits and I'm making money.
This is the story of the newest denizen of the cave.
And then all of a sudden somebody comes in with like, yeah, man, there's a shooting at a daycare center. So many dead toddlers. I'm like, well, that's well, that's where the day's going then, I guess. Is MagFest that bad off if they cancel it at this time? Is it gone forever? I genuinely think that's kind of it. Yeah, it like Hessian's right. They nearly didn't pull, like, they nearly didn't survive the last round of COVID, and there was also a huge leadership change at the top of their. There's a huge leadership change at the top of their organization, and so ultimately, if they cancel this MagFest just goes away forever. There's no way it survives it. Darth Shield gives a tier 1 sub to Psycon. Yeah, I don't know anything about the people who are running it now. The people who used to run it were awesome. I liked them very much. One of their top guys used to just pop in here every once in a while and just chill and stream, because he knew us through Noah, and because we've done a lot of panels there. Ice, good morning. Great Jug, good morning as well. Sorry, I know that we don't have any volume on the game. It's just that the freaking gluttonies are so loud, and it makes it very difficult to, like, talk to chat at all. I'll give it, like, this much volume. No, a little more. No game sound? Yeah, I'm aware. This is the game sound right now. Let's have a casual conversation over this. Devins, you and me, buddy. Devins, how was your weekend? Was it good? What did you get up to? Because these things fire in an empty room. No enemies to be found. They're just doing this for fun. These are what my tears sound like. Did you get up to any trouble this weekend? So yeah, there's not a lot of game sound. I had it turned all the way off. I'll give it like that much. I have, like, so my take on it, like, my take on MagFest is this. I've been somebody who's started several businesses. I have no idea what the relationship is like between, like, MagFest and the people who run it. I would imagine the people who run it don't do it as a full-time job. I don't know if they get paid. You know, like, I don't know. I've had multiple businesses with my name attached to them that have folded. That's maybe not true. I've had one business that I can absolutely point to that had my name on it that folded. That was kind of gutting for me. I didn't have other people. I didn't have like staff, and I didn't have like employees and volunteers. But like, you know, if it's something you're passionate about, it's difficult. It's difficult to pull the plug on it. Yes, people are, you know, people's health will be at risk if it happens. It will 100% become a super spreader event if it's done the way it's always been done in the past. I don't know, like, I live in that morally gray area where it's just kind of like, I understand that we should absolutely do the right thing, but I could also understand sort of the hemming and hawing of like, you know, do I sacrifice my job, do I kill the place that employs me in order to keep this one event from being bad? And I could understand the hesitation on that. That still doesn't mean that, you know, holding is the right thing to do, but I'm not gonna jerk myself off taking the moral high road on them, being like, oh yeah, well, if they cared about people, like, yeah, that's rough. If you found out that like deleting your stream and social media presence tomorrow would keep 50 people from getting COVID, you maybe still do it, but I'm not like it wouldn't be easy. I'm not saying you guys are wrong. I'm just saying that I get the hesitation. I understand the human emotion attached to being like sad / hesitant to change. Especially when we're in this like weird soupy area where the CDC's like, hey, listen, if you got COVID, try not to cough on people at your workplace, but your ass has got to go back to work. Like when we're at a place where even the governing bodies that we trust to sort of like give us good information and advice are like, nah, some of y'all just have to lay down on the pyre to get this economy jump started again. It's like, oh, for real? That's where we are now, huh? Neat. I'm not saying y'all are wrong. You're not wrong. But I'm also saying from an empathetic standpoint, I'll be disappointed if they do it. I'm probably not going. I'll be disappointed if they do it. It would be so much easier for me if they just called it. But at the same time, like, I don't know, man. There's a part of me that kind of gets it. I don't know. Weird times, man. Man. No keys, huh? Yeah, why don't you pop up and tell me how you feel about it, game. Tears down. Joke's on you, I got all the tears upgrades. I feel like I'm no better than the dipshits on a beach in Florida shotgunning beers saying it's just the flu if I do shit like go to a con. Yeah, that's, you know, that's where my apprehension is as well. I think it's mostly just like the disappointment talking of like, I had finally accepted a world where COVID wasn't going anywhere, but I had done my part. I don't know what hit me, but whatever it is, I bet it fucking regrets it. You know, I was just feeling like, oh man, well, I've done my part. I've gotten vaccinated, gotten boosted, and all the science and medicine says it would be very hard to give me COVID at this point. And as soon as I like put myself in a place where I'm ready to go back out into the world, I have to relive 2020 all over again, where I hand Airbnb some of my money, don't go to the place that I was booked for, and then, you know, resign myself to another 3 months of isolating. And that's, you know, that's probably what needs to be done. If you have the luxury of being able to do that without, you know, being evicted. But man, it's, you know, it's an emotional gut punch. CDC is very likely going to revise those guidelines. People are not happy. You know, the most contagious version of COVID yet, and they're like, rub some dirt on it. We need workers. My daughter works at Chick-fil-A and she has a cold. They told her to go ahead and come in and just wear a mask. Still can't get a test to confirm anything, but we're all vaccinated and boosted. Ugh. Yeah, honestly, Dick Hardley, there's a part of me like I feel like well, no, I don't feel like an asshole. I feel sad that the advice that I'm giving my sons now is like, well, this is just proof positive, sons, that you can't rely on the United States government to have your back in anything. Like, hey, sons, the life lesson to take away from this is that your government doesn't care about you regardless of who's running the show. This is an important lesson for you to learn early on, is that they will not come to save you. As a matter of fact, they might actively run you into the ground. So you gotta watch out for you, my dudes. I get my sleepy ass out of bed to go to work and we actually have today off. I should be asleep. Damn, Rocket Whale, that sucks. Grayson and Rory asked whether or not I was going to be able to take the day off because they probably have the next 2 days off from school, if I'm being honest. And they wanted to know if that meant that I got to hang out with them for an extra day, and I was like, unfortunately, my dudes, streamers don't get snow days. So no, Dad will not get to come hang out and watch movies all day and play in the snow. I worked with someone who just had allergies, tested positive 2 days later. Store still wanted me to come in even though I worked with her both days she was sick. Boy, yeah, I was gonna say, like, yeah. None of these conversations are doing anything to help me win my side. It's not an argument, you know what I mean? But, like, none of these conversations are helping me win my take of just like, I totally get why it's tough to close these things down. Because when I'm reading all these out loud that aren't MagFest, there's a part of me that's going like, yeah, man, fuck these workplaces. But, you know, MagFest, I feel really bad for them. All right, maybe y'all got a point. Maybe, yeah, okay, let's just not go to MagFest this year. You tried to tell me that you... Well, I mean, it's tough to commute from my bedroom to the office when it's snowing because I just want to go outside and watch the snow. But it's not because the snow makes it difficult, no, unfortunately. I was on time this morning, but I was only on time by the sheer force of will to want to do this, like, this first day right. Try to... Not a New Year's resolution, just the first day that I've had the ability to, like, really kind of rein my shit in. So yeah, not a New Year's resolution, just I had a day off and I could finally reset my life. So I wanted to make sure that I kind of did all the right things to get started today and start the fasting. I was going to try to go to the gym, but that seems like a bad idea right now, so I'll try to do like a full body workout later. I was only not late because of that. Otherwise, I would have been like 15 minutes late. Just watching the snowfall. I love snow. I grew up with it, a lot of it in Idaho, and I used to really enjoy watching snowfall. And I only get that 1 or 2 days a year here. 64-bit robot, welcome. My good friend's a high school teacher with a young toddler at home. He's beyond pissed that schools refuse to go back to online classes. Okay, so for me, there's another part. There's another piece of it. Is that, like, Chesterfield County is keeping the boys in school, like, in personal school. So there's a part of me that, like, it feels virtually impossible that I dodge COVID. Because at some point, it just feels inevitable that my kids are going to bring it home. And their school does a really good job with COVID guidelines. they've had very few cases pop up. But it just feels virtually inevitable that at some point my sons are going to bring it home. That said, I'm not looking to expedite it. I'd love to be wrong. Haven't caught a stream since last year. I'm gonna go ahead and do this entire floor to see if I can get golden chests. Maybe for items, but mostly I just want keys. Why not take an intermission in the middle of your day? I'm a creature of habit. I'm a creature of habit, and you're absolutely right. Like, it'd throw off the viewer count, and that would mess with my head. Not that I don't even have the viewer count activated. I glanced for a second on Saturday because I can't gift. I don't know if Reg is still here, but I can't gift subs through my dashboard right now. I can gift subs if I go to my page as though I'm watching my own stream. I can gift subs. So on Saturday, I went onto my own page to see if I could give subs to people, and saw that our view count for Saturday Morning Isaac was 400 people, and I was very surprised. Cobalt was also having the same thing? Yeah, hopefully they know about it. They're keeping your kids in school, you're definitely gonna get COVID. It kind of feels that way. Like, we already had a quarantine situation because Rory was in class with a girl who, you know, tested positive for COVID. Good for her and her family. They got it as fast as they could get the test results, and they kept her out the moment that they thought she was sick. And the school got Rory and all the other kids isolated and quarantined. Rory felt bad because he didn't know why he was being quarantined. Apparently they didn't do a good job of communicating to him. I guess they probably just didn't want to scare him. But Rory at this point would have been like, oh, I've been in contact with somebody who has COVID. Yes, I should quarantine. It makes sense they wouldn't want to scare the kid and be like, you were near somebody with COVID. And they're like, am I gonna die? But my kids would have gotten it, but they didn't tell them any reason. He thought he was in trouble, and so he was sitting in this like detention room until Amber could go get him. Tragically, some of my friends got a case of COVID in their house, so they had to cancel their New Year's party. Another pair of my friends also caught a case of COVID in their house. Understandable, they're in the medical field. It's honestly crazy they didn't have a case before. Oh yeah, we're racking up daily records in Virginia, and the United States is back up to like 500,000 cases a day. Really, really ripping through. Yeah, that's honestly, schools should just do what the Great British Bake Off did. Schools should just do what the Great British Bake Off did and keep the kids in a bubble for the entire semester. Sorry, boys, you gotta get edumacated. You gotta learn your multiplication tables. Mommy and Daddy will see you in June. There we go. I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna hold on to these keys for the chest. The Seraphim transformation is nice here, except the biggest benefit of flight we just got from the item. Yeah, exactly. I like to think of it as I gave my character flight twice just to prove that I could. Our gluttonies are gone, so we can turn the volume back up a little bit. Not a lot. The moon. I don't really need to go back to that devil card. I feel strong enough. I'm just gonna go. I think I'm ready to see what the rest of the day holds for me. Yeah, we're probably gonna be okay. Song slaps. Some of these are good. So much body. Finally getting okay-ish at Isaac, but only if I start with Baller Tears upgrade or play Azazel. Did knock down Delirium for my first time seeing him though. Nice! I'm excited to get back to Demon Souls today. I'm gonna give the old Flame Lurker a bit of a rest though. I feel like that's what, like the 4th boss we've encountered, and it is a considerable jump in difficulty. So I might go see what some of the other realms have to offer. We'll come back to Flame Lurker once we've got a couple upgrades under our belt. I don't want to do that. Oh, I can do that. I can do that because I got Stomp Hat. I've really enjoyed Demon Souls. There's a bit of a learning curve to it just because... every one of these Souls games is just different. Like in Sekiro, you gotta learn how to move fast and you gotta learn how to like block and parry. Or not block, but parry. In Bloodborne, you have to learn a different kind of parry with your pistol. But generally speaking, like I didn't really parry in that game. But it's obviously a different weapon set. And you got to learn like extended weapon versus retracted weapon and all that kind of jazz. And I genuinely felt like the use of items was more important on Bloodborne than it was in like Sekiro or Dark Souls 2. And then in Demon Souls, I feel like I'm not able to play the way that I normally lean on, which is like no shield, two-handed weapon, and just dodge roll around. The number of iframes you get from a dodge roll seems much smaller, and so I'm having to learn a completely different way of playing the game, which is more block intensive, which I've never done before. So once I kind of find my feet, I think we're gonna be okay. I mean, most of the bosses we haven't needed more than 1 or 2 tries at, with the exception of Flame Lurker, who kicked the shit out of me for a half a day. But from what I hear, he's generally considered a very tough boss. I started playing Witcher 3 on Death March last night. Oh dear God, that first Griffin. The funny thing, Ollie Queen, is that like Death March is rough and all that jazz, but much like a normal playthrough of Witcher, once your build kind of gets set, once you know what you're doing, it gets easier the same way normal difficulty gets easier. Death March is rough in the beginning, but once you figure out how you want to play, like how you want Geralt to play, once you figure out how you want Geralt to play, it's really kind of a walk in the park. It's not that much more difficult once you get your build in place. It's pretty normal to struggle on Fire Lurker. I just like not only are his movements very erratic, and like getting close to him, like if I had a ranged character, which I don't, and I don't think I ever will unless the game just forces me to have a ranged character. If I had a ranged character, it doesn't feel like it'd be that bad because he bunny hops back, so you just have to dodge his attacks and then fight from range. But ranged characters are just not how I like to play those kinds of games. But yeah, like if you get too close to him, he does contact damage because he's made of fire. But even with my spear set up too far away and I can't make contact at all. And I'm currently at a spot where I just don't feel like I don't feel like I do as much damage as I should do to be tackling that fight. I feel like that's a boss you come back to when you've got a little more beef in your swing. Because like we first tried Phalanx, we like 4th tried Armored Spider, we 3rd tried Tower Guard, so I'm not used to struggling on bosses, and if I do, it normally means that I've missed something, or I'm trying to do it, I'm inventing my own hard difficulty by trying to do it either earlier than I need to or without adequate upgrades. Every time I've succeeded in a truly hard boss fight, I've gotten to the end of it and people have gone like, hey dude, like, that's very admirable, but you weren't even supposed to be here yet. I'm like, oh, for real? Sure, what the hell? As someone who played the very first Demon Souls with serious range cheese, Flame Lurker wasn't that much easier. No shit. Yeah, honestly, I feel like Ipecac may have slowed down the amount of DPS we put out because our rate of fire is so slow now. Yeah, Arkham Assassin, that's kind of what I'm feeling too, is that like this is the first time where it's like I'm starting to realize that maybe I'm not supposed to just go into maybe I'm not supposed to go into each level and just finish the level, that maybe I'm supposed to bounce around these levels a little bit. And it's the first time I've really noticed that, because that kind of didn't dawn on me before. It kind of did not dawn on me before that maybe we're supposed to bounce around and find the easy bosses in the levels and then come back. I generally felt like I was supposed to, oh well, here's level 1, like Mario almost, like, oh, we did level 1-1, now do level 1-2, now do level 1-3. All right, now on to 2-1, 2-2, 2-3. And that may actually not really be the case. Or it could just be that the Flame Lurker is a big pain in the ass. Well, I go for a spacebar item as the Satanic Bible is now rendered completely useless. No, this isn't modded. I don't generally go in on mods. That's technically better. My big thing with mods is that I don't generally like watching modded runs of almost any game, because in my head I dislike situations where chat has to basically say like, hey, is this the Binding of Isaac? And I'm like, yeah, but different. And they're like, oh, well, how? And then every time I have to make an explanation, I feel like I have a chance of losing someone. Where they're just like, okay, so I get X, but don't get Y. And then if Z happens, then blank. And then there's a new character who has these rules. And honestly, for me, it happened a lot when I would watch Darkest Dungeon. Like, whenever, like, I know there's a big Darkest Dungeon modding community, but genuinely, if I found out that somebody was doing, like, oh, I want to watch Darkest Dungeon, and then I get in and be like, I don't recognize any of these characters, and they'd be like, oh, I'm doing a modded run, and I'm like, I'm out. No offense, I'm sure it's great, but I don't want to learn a new version of this. I don't even know what got me in all that. Go get him, Revenge Fly. Or don't, you know, it's cool. Live your best life.
Ace of Diamonds.
Yeah, quality of life stuff is different. Like Witcher 3, I put on quality of life for auto-apply oils, and I made my inventory bigger. But I feel like that's not like a very difficult ask for people when they're like, hey, is this modded Witcher? And I'm like, yeah, I did a couple of things to make the world look prettier, and I made it easier to carry stuff. Oh, well, what about the gameplay? How's that affected? Not at all. The gameplay is affected not at all.
Someday, Bumbo, lucky Bumbo, someday the Bumbo is a bad Bumbo. He got corn.